a simplified process for architectural interiors.
Hi there! You must be one of the people wondering what architectural interiors is about. Basically, architectural interiors is a detailed planning and design of a proposed structure's indoor area, which there are plenty of processes and steps to go through for it to be a remarkable project. The design process in approaching an interior project is very thorough and is done differently by various architectural firms. You heard it right, the design process is a vital role and is key in an interior project. The design process is a term that covers a set of operations which, when carefully undertaken by the designer, result in a thoroughly considered and well-crafted design solution that meets the needs of the client. The process is not exclusive to interior design and in one form or another applies to all fields of design. And in order to do so, you need an architect to help you with this process. The importance of having an architect in designing architectural interiors is due to their extensive knowledge in different areas like building utilities, structure, and engineering that can help the client maximize the potential of their space. And we're glad to tell you that here at Concipio Tektura will accommodate you with our design process that we will follow in designing an architectural interior project, which is why we prepared 4 processes for you to follow and understand the design process.
The first process.
First, we do a site survey and documentation where we understand the client and identify the user requirements. During a site documentation, we must remember 6 things: as-built plan, investigate, take videos, measure, take photos, and verify plan. Site survey and documentation is always the first step in any design project. 80% of projects in architectural interiors already have existing condition. It is a must to ask if there is an as-built plan or any documents from our client that can be validated from the site condition. During site visits, the designer must investigate, measure, take photos, videos, and verify the as-built plan with the existing built project to ensure that the measurements and site condition will be considered into the design phases. After that is we understand the client and user requirements, where in most cases, especially commercial projects, the client will not always be the users. The designer must be able to understand the direction the client is heading, the operation flow of the users, and how the business will operate, and from there the needs of the client will be established. It is for these reasons and many others that the designer needs to be able to communicate on many levels with lots of different personality types. From the forthright to the timid, clients need to be understood, treated with respect, and made to understand that they are the key element of the design process. First is 1. What are the basic needs versus wants of the client, the owner of the project? We must learn to know the first basic need before the wants in order to fulfill the basic requirements, which is much more important. Second is the number 2, operational flow. How will the business operate and its people that use the space? The spaces will depend on operation. Like for example, the differences between Shakey's, McDo, and a Samgyeopsal restaurant all fall under the category of food and beverage, but how one operates differ from the other. And lastly is number 3, design standards. Space requirements. This defines your immediate space needs or your needs in future periods. How your space will operate.
Moving on to the second process, where we need to prepare a presentation of the design board, initial proposal of floor plan, initial 3D model, and the design perspectives. Presentation of the design board are collective boards for various applications. There are 4 types of design board: mood board, concept board, material board, and sample board.
The mood board is type of visualization board that relays what atmosphere or ambience the designer wants to apply in the project. This is where the overall feel of an interior space would be based on.
The concept board is another form of visualization that revolves on the ideas of a particular element found on the project. In simpler terms, it is breaking down each element and giving it a particular idea. Elements are everything inside the interior project, like the pieces of furniture, walls, ceiling, flooring, artworks, and lighting.
A sample board is a series of images from an actual material samples in which can be a visual and tactile experience. A material board is a series of images for architectural finishes used in a project and can be integrated into 3D visualization. The files can either be taken from the internet or from the store that offers that type of product.
After the presentation of the design board and its various applications, we then proceed to the initial proposal of the floor plan. The process is for collaboration, discussion, refinements, and approval with all the stakeholders of the project. During the initial proposal of floor plans, the process always starts with rough sketches of the floor plan using pen and paper. Never start with plotting the plan in digital software. After the initial floor plan, it will be submitted to various stakeholders for comments and approval. Keep in mind that there will be plenty of revisions and iterations during this process. Now we must remember the important tools during this process, which are pens and markers, scale, and especially the tracing paper.
It is very important to start with sketching the plan in scale before formally doing it in CAD or any other digital software. Now we proceed to the initial 3D model. After refining the floor plan, the next step is to turn it into a 3D model. In this process, the concepts and design boards are translated into 3D models where the textures and ideas are applied. The photos from the material board are integrated to rendering software such as V-Ray to get an idea of what the actual finishes of the project look like. When designing 3D, it is important to design as a whole instead of designing wall per wall. It is important to individually detail the elements and furniture used. The direction of the overall look of the 3D model would come from the design boards done in the early process. These are the softwares that are commonly used when making a 3D model: SketchUp, Lumion, V-Ray, and Adobe Photoshop. There are two factors inside a 3D interior model. First is the interior shell. The floor, wall, and ceiling are considered under shell category. The wall design, the floor pattern layout, and the type of ceiling and its details. Second is the interior elements, which can be broken down into three types, which are furniture, fixture, and equipment, are known as FF&E, whereas chairs for furniture, cabinets are considered fixtures, and the different appliances are considered equipment. The furniture, furnishings, and equipment interior design includes the design selection, specification, color coordination, and procurement documentation of the required items necessary to meet the functional, operational, sustainability, and aesthetic needs of the facility. The FF&E package will include the placement plans, ordering and finishing information on all freestanding furnishings, and 26 accessories and cost estimates. Accessories are necessary for visualization to get the proper proportion and feel to complete the overall design. Then lastly, the design perspective. After the initial 3D models, it is time to render and present the design in different views as seen in the examples. The perspectives give the client an idea on what the actual outcome of the design would be. Therefore, the views of every perspective should be detailed and set to man's eye view. Perspective drawing plays a different role during the design process. It is obvious that at the end of this process, the perspective drawing is aimed to show the final design product to the client, offering an easy understanding of all spatial relations. Part 3. The third process. Moving on, the third process consists of the very crucial part of designing, which are the design drawings, technical specifications, bill of material and quantity, and lastly is estimate. Design drawing is when, after the revisions and approvals of the parties involved, it is time to make a working drawing which will be used in the construction phase of the project. The drawings that designers most often use to help them understand the space are technical drawings rather than illustrative ones. That is, they are drawings that form a meticulous and accurate record of relationships between widths, depths, and heights. As a result, they clearly indicate the proportions of elements of an interior space, but they are not drawings that show spaces as we are used to seeing them. Concipio Tektura has another explanatory video for the working drawings which is for you to watch and be elaborated, but for now, here are examples of working drawings in this phase. After the design drawing, there are 3 processes that follow. Process 1 is the technical specifications. Technical specifications are detailed descriptions of materials used in the project. They also serve as guidelines on the allowable materials that can be used by the contractor. Technical specifications come after the working drawings in the contract documents. They are detailed information about the materials used in the project. It states how it is used, how its installation requirements, and methods in installing it. It is also legal documents that also serve as legal protection for an architect. Process 2 is the Bill of Quantities and Materials. Bill of Quantities and Materials are both based on the technical specifications indicating the materials that are used as well as the quantity. Hence, it will be ready for estimate. Process 3 is the estimates. Estimate is one of the last parts of the design phase where the designer will have a baseline cost before the contractors bid and add their costing on the project. Part 4. The fourth process. And for the last process, the project realization. The goal of the process is to bring structure, accountability, complete clarity, and discipline to the definition of realization. It provides the means to validate that proposed projects will deliver real outcomes that specifically support strategic objectives such what we learned in the previous phases. Interior design is like any construction projects that need to focus on the implementation stage to ensure the completion of the project. On the other hand, design cannot be denied being the most important element for realization of the concept and client's objective to the project. To ensure the completion of the project, the knowledge of the implementation stage, including management, is more significant to the project. Project realization is all about concept to reality and carefully imagining the design impact during construction, which is the most important way to ensure integrity in design. Now that you have learned the simplified process for architectural interiors, you may continue to learn from our other YouTube videos. And if you want to book for an appointment, you can contact the following details and support us by following our other social media accounts.